When you walked upon the earth, you healed the broken, lost, and hurt. I know you hate to see me cry. One day you will set.
Hello, my friend. Glad to see you made it. And welcome to the Gospel Hour with David. Today we got a little something a little new, and we're going to do a little interview here. And today I have a question. We always have questions as Christians or whoever we may be. And today's question is, how do we pursue trust in God? How does that created? How does it work? I think, God, our Father, is all related to my dad or my mother or lack thereof or whatever it may be. So I think, Jesus explains it very well in chapter 18 of the book of Matthew. Let me just read you a small piece to say, he is like our Father, he is our teacher and our instructor, and let's just see what he's saying. He's trying to comfort us. He's trying to teach us something about the nature of God, and not just the nature of God, but the nature of us. It's God the Father and we the children. And we got to see it that way. I can't just crawl back up into my mother's womb and be reborn and start over my whole life. And now that I have the instructions, I can fix everything that was wrong, and now I know how to obtain a good life, right? If I could only go back and start over. But this is what I would like us all to see, and that it's already there. Nobody had to teach me love and safety. Nobody had to teach me the truth. I knew what the truth was the day I was born. And the day I was born, I came out of the womb and it was cold. I was warm for 9 months and right there listening to the rhythm of my mother's heartbeat, and then I'm born, and the first thing I knew was reality. It became a reality. I am 100% vulnerable, and I am at the whim of whatever is out here, to the frigid cold, the warm, these people's hands, the what am I? That's, I guess, was my first question when I was born. Am I safe in your hands? Right? So a baby looks right to his mama's eyes and, am I safe? Because I know I'm vulnerable. I know it's the truth. I don't have words to express it, but I have feelings. I have the emotions. I have the awareness that I exist. I'm here. Am I safe in your hands? And so as mothers or fathers, or you're bottle feeding or breastfeeding, and I recommend breastfeeding. I, as a parent, we, for whatever reasons, chose to bottle feed, and my son has a hard time associating with women. And I think it's because he wasn't he was bottle fed and not breastfed. That connection between mom and child, as he's looking into those eyes, am I safe in your hand? Because this is how a newborn baby is. If I'm safe, I'm happy. First thing he comes out, or the baby comes out, crying. Am I safe? And the moment it stops crying is when it knows or feels safe. So crying is not a happy feeling or a happy emotion. We only cry when our needs aren't being met, when I'm not safe. First thing baby realizes, I'm not safe. I have no way to protect myself. I don't even know where I am. Right? So it's figuring everything out by feeling. It's figuring everything out by what it's literally feeling. That's why it has to taste everything. Because I only understand what I feel. And if I just stuck it in my mouth, I could understand it a little better. I could now not only feel it, but I could taste it, right? And so that's how babies begin to grow in trust. And who are they trusting? Do they know what that person they're looking at is their mom or dad? They have no idea who you are. What they know is, I am safe in your hands. That's the only thing they know. Who provides that safety? Who provides that happiness? Well, the one who loves me. So a baby, always, natural instinct is to gravitate to whatever provides happiness or that safety. So who's going to love you the most? Right? There's a great story in the Bible who how this is all kind of explained about that love and who is gonna love you the most. You know, we have 1,000 friends, right? I could have many friends online. I could have many brothers and sisters, or not. You know, I could have many neighbors. I could have many co-workers. I could have 1,000 teachers and instructors, but I only have one mom and dad, and that goes for every one of us. There's only one mom and dad. And what makes that person a mom or dad? The one who loved me when I needed it. It's not about want. It's about when I needed it. You know, so who's going to do that? Well, we come to find out, Solomon says, you know, there has a problem, and Solomon said, I don't want riches and glory. I don't need prosperity. What I want to know is wisdom and the knowing the difference between right and wrong so that I can make a proper judgment. I can make a wise decision, and I can make that wise decision without worrying about I've made the wrong decision. And so comes about, these two women have children. The one woman has a child and it dies. The two child are the same age. They're friends. And the one child dies. Girl wakes up in the morning, grabs the live baby, and says, this is my child. Well, children are about 6 months old, infants. And they go to court and they're arguing and fighting, and this is my child. No, your child died last night. No, that's my child. Your child died last night. So they're fighting over this child, and nobody knows who the child is. We're at a day and an age when they don't have birth certificates or DNA and all this stuff. So we've got to make a wise decision. Who is this child's parent? Is it the one who is flesh and blood? And we don't know who's flesh and blood. Or is it the other one who is trying to steal what doesn't belong to her? Someone else's child. Because hers died. So Solomon says, we're going to cut the baby in half. You get half and you get half. I mean, that's really what you want. It's all about you, yourself, and what you have invested in this. So we'll just cut it in half. You get the legs, you get the top. Both be happy. See you later. All right? Now we're both happy. And so they get the baby and they stretch him out, going to cut him in half. And the one woman says, stop. It's not mine. I lied. And there, Solomon says, give the baby to the woman who said, stop. Who said, stop. Obviously, you love that child. It must be yours. It must be yours. The other woman was happy with taking the legs. Half. So, sin is learned. Sin is learned. You don't have to teach a baby love. It knows love because when it's not crying, it feels safe and it's happy. And what creates that? My love, willingness to attend to its needs. I'm hungry. I'm cold. I don't feel safe. How come babies cry or are agitated when they're in the hands of someone, a stranger, someone they don't know? They don't feel safe. Why? I've never experienced safety in your hands. So it's all, am I safe in your hands? That's one thought, the only thought a baby has. Now, we're adults, right? And are we safe in God's hands? So he, have you ever wondered? Because this is what makes us not believe we're safe in God's hands. Sin. I was taught by my mom and dad, I'm a baby, I don't understand language, I don't understand anything. But that when I cried, it didn't comfort me. Whatever it may have been, when my diaper needed changed. How many, we greatest selling market for children is butt rash, right? Butt rash, don't change child. So, baby's crying and got butt rash, and why? Because when I cried, mom or dad didn't attend to my needs. So now I had to go buy ointment and fix the problem. Well, till I run out of more ointments. And the problem doesn't get fixed, but the baby learns something. I'm not going to cry anymore because you're not attending to my needs. And it's not that they don't cry. They stop crying to you. No matter who we are, we're going to gravitate to where we're safe. How do gangs form? Well, these are children who have lost parents, who don't know love. They know love, but they know what they're receiving is not love. See, we learn sin, but love is received. We don't have to learn it, we just receive it. When I cried, answered. Right? Where's God in us? Where's God in answering our prayers? And God is here. God's always been here. God is the Father, as Jesus says, chapter 18. If you teach any of these children, because he's answering the question as they were fighting, who is the greatest among us? He grabs a little child and he says, right here, this is the greatest among you. And everybody who receives this as the greatest, and I do believe he's holding a 9-month younger baby, this is the greatest. And anyone who receives this as the greatest receives me. And anyone who teaches this to sin or not believe me, woe to you. You're inviting in lots of problems. Lots of problems. So, let me say, in the United States of America, we have the highest women population in prison, right? And of all the world, China, Europe, all together, Africa, India, Australia, all of South America, Mexico, we in the United States have more women in prison right now than all the rest of the world. And so we ask, why and what happened? These are not just women, these were daughters, and they are mothers. And We know, if you do research, child molestation and child abuse is rampant, and not just rampant in America, all out throughout the world. And this has been a problem for thousands of years. In fact, the Bible mentions about it many times because it's a problem. It's a reality. It's real. And so we know it's happening, and then we say to all the women who are in prison, 100% were molested, violated, or abused in some way. 100% of them. And all of them received this from 0 to 3. That's where it's all made. That's where it's all molded. What happens when we're missing a parent? Dad or mom. And then boyfriend comes in. Or whatever. Is a boyfriend is a stranger, right? We go back to our story. Gonna love that child more than its own parent. Yet, what do we teach our children when we teach them sin? Well, this is sin. You are precious. Yet, are they? Because in it we're so trying to grow up. We don't want to be in the presence of our child's life. We don't want to sit there and play Monopoly. We don't want to hang out with them. We don't want to skip rope with them. We want them to go play and be children and be happy and never bother us. Yet a child's number one thing in life from day one, am I safe in your hands? That's all they know. And if we're not answering the call, the cry, we don't believe it. We don't believe that we're safe. And if we're not safe in the sight that physical hands we see, feel, and touch, how do I believe in a God I cannot see, feel, or touch? How? How do we do it? And then, like in our world today, we want to change the world or the world we live in so that our children, I remember back in the 70s, right? We could go to the park. And I never was afraid to die. Today, do you know why the parks are empty? Because everybody's afraid to go to the park. Everyone. The children, the parents. And what happened? So do we want to, this message is for the children. You want to change the world. Let's change our children. And how do we change it? What's this transformation? Love. Love. Whether I grew up in a house filled with love, because when that baby's born, it doesn't know nothing but what it sees, what it experiences. So if I'm a child growing up in a single family, and my mom or whatever had always gravitated toward abusive men, all these abusive boyfriends, whatever, that's the life I know. And I might grow up in the world and say, you know what, I was loved and cared for because that's the only thing I know. And that's like teaching sin. Anything that makes you feel like you're not important. We were born kind of narcissists, and God places that for us as a form of protection. And then later we have to be reborn. And I got to take off my armor of narcissism, me, myself, and I. And I got to refocus it on you, or whoever. So that's the armor of God. I am safe in your hands. Now that I'm safe, I can use my hands to create safety for you. So when we go to school and we're teaching children sex education, That's what we teach them. I teach you how to have sex and how to have sex safely. But we're human beings. We know how to have sex, and safety's never been a problem. The problem has always been, what do I do with this life I just created? What now? How do I deal with this? Many women in prison, right? We say, let's regroup our mind a little bit of what's the problem in our world and what's creating this, as we're missing out right in the first 3 years. If you had a perpetrator come into your home and they molested your daughter, boyfriend, uncle, whatever, I don't know, neighbor, it's usually somebody you have close contact with. They come in, they molest your child. Right? Do you grab your child, throw them out to the police, where they are thrown away as criminals? Because in America we do. They're 100% molested and abused, all in prison. Some of them, a lot of women, kill their own children. Most of them are under 25 years old. And it's not that they beat the tar out of their children and murder them in such a way. They shake them. It's huge. One, and it's over. That fast. And it all drives around being frustrated. My baby was fussy. It was upset. It was agitating. It was irritating me. I really wanted to watch TV. I really wanted to get the laundry done. Well, whatever my mind was on, that it wasn't on the baby. And because the baby was crying out saying, "Mom, I need you," I was frustrated, agitated. So I just, one time, stop crying. And it's over that fast. And you probably never even wanted to hurt them. Just stop crying. But this is what they had experienced. When I cried, little kid, nobody answered my prayer, my cry. What makes you think you deserve that? And so we're broken. We're broken. We do exactly what I've learned. And it starts at childhood, at birth, first 3 years. If I grow up, my son grew up without a mother. That affected him. There's a cause and effect. That's why Jesus says, don't teach them to sin. If you teach a child to sin, if you prove to a child that when they are not feeling safe and there's nobody there to provide their safety, if you prove that's true, boy, it'd be better for you, the teacher, to just commit suicide. Throw yourself into the sea, drown yourself. That's the gravity of what it is. And we can look in America and say, wow, there's such an effect. Most of our women, mothers and daughters, are setting in prison because this is how today's society is saying we want to deal with this problem. We'll throw the victim in prison while the molesters are walking around. And how do we know they're walking around free? Because the problem hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. And you break a little girl. Sometimes you don't have to beat that little girl. You have to beat the little girl's mama. And she learns. Well, that's what mothers do. They get beat up. Okay, and then they have a baby. And that's not normal. It's not okay. Then they have a baby. And the baby says, it's all about me, myself, and I. And mom's experience is, no, it's not. How dare you think that? It's like a rebellion thing. I felt it in my own heart when my son said, let's play cars. Or whatever, you got your little cars. I don't want to play. I want to be an adult. So Jesus says, boy, if you received that child as the greatest and then took this teaching and planted it in your heart, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven unless you come like this child. So the greatest part of my day should be sitting with that child, being just like it, and discovering this world together. Now, children, many people in prison will tell you, well, I asked for God to help me, and He didn't. I asked for God to prayers weren't answered. And what's stopping them from believing a hot shower is God's presence? See, 90% of the world doesn't have a hot shower, but everybody in America has a hot shower, including the women in prison. Most of the humanity of world's existence throughout time, history, never saw a hot shower or clean water. So is God with us? Some of us abused and hurt and perhaps are in prison, but they're safe right now. They're safe right now. See, we always gravitate. Wherever I'm safe, there I'm happy. I've seen stories of women who are getting out of prison after being there for 20 and 30 years. And their greatest fear is being free. See, in prison, every choice is made for you. I tell you, eat now, and they eat. Brush your teeth now, and they brush their teeth. Every piece of their day is programmed. Now I got free will. I got the ability to make a choice. I don't want the choice. I don't want the responsibility. Because I can't trust myself. When I had free will, I chose what I was taught. And it didn't work for me. See, even in prison, you see there's one thing that there's always a father, gay or not gay. Somebody rises up to take on that figure. Father. Someone rises up, takes on the figure of mother. See, we have many friends, but we only have one father and we only have one mother. And who is that? The one who provides. The answer to your call, your cries. The one who makes you feel safe and happy. And everybody in prison wants one thing. I'll do anything it takes to feel safe. Anything. That's why they kill boyfriends and girlfriends. They don't know how to deal with that narcissistic thing. So in life, we're trying to be prepared. This is what Jesus does. He prepares you for when it's gone. When it's not there. So like when dad's taken away, he's trying to prepare you for what happens on that day. My loved one is killed. What happens on that day? My child is taken away. What happens when we die? What happens when my daughter is thrown into prison? What happens on the day it's gone? And that's what we're always being prepared for. And God is the answer. God is always the answer. See, God is our Father. In any prayer we make, it is answered. He is in our presence. He is in our life. What's preventing me from seeing it, understanding it, or feeling it? Sin. Somebody taught me sin. They taught me how to sin. And because I know sin, I'm unable to trust in the truth. God, a loving Father, or a loving mother. You know, God is loving. And He's very caring. And God looks at each one of us as though we were narcissists. In fact, the Bible says, I think you're all a bunch of narcissists. You're lovers of vanity. Me, myself, and I. And how is God explaining it like that? It's because He's right here in the midst of us saying, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm always the truth. That's God. Always the truth. So what does a baby always receive and understand? The truth. Where I'm safe, I am happy. And that's inside of God's hands. That's why Jesus says, visit them in prison. In prison. Visit them. That's why God says, visit them who are sick. Visit them. Visit the orphans. You know, Paul has, what does it all look like in its, totality? Paul says, here I was, a man one day who read the Bible every day. And I gave approval to the stoning of this young man. The death of him. But today, I decided to put the Bible down and then pick it up by putting it to practice. Look at Timothy, my prodigy, my son. Here's the evidence. It works. That son is dead, and this one is alive. And look at him. Meet him. He's a wonderful guy. He's a wonderful person. So in all of it, even though a child sees what we do wrong, I smoke because my dad smoked, and now my son smokes. They see everything you do wrong, and what do they want to do? They want to be just like you. They want to be just like you. But my son is also kind. Why is he kind? Because I am kind. So now Paul has something to be proud of. Look at Timothy. And was Timothy his flesh and blood? No. But he received me as though I was a father. And that's what I want you to see, because he was received. And what made him or enabled him to receive him as a father? I am safe in your hands. In whose hands am I safe? Because whoever's hands I find safety, that's my mother. That's my father. You'll see many kids, all those in prison. Why do they gravitate to a gang? In the gang, I found safety. I found my mother. I found my father. Now, in some of it, it's a false sense of security. Because the mother and the father and all the kids in gangs came out of an abusive home, and so they only know one thing: how to abuse. And that's why the whole gang winds up in jail. If anybody screws with you, little brother, I got Colt 45 right here, because that's what I was taught. I was taught. This is love. Yet it's all wrapped in violence and abuse. And even though they call it love, it's not love. Because I can't see how we as a people can justify throwing the victims of abuse, the victims of molestation in prison while allowing the perpetrators and the abusers to walk free. That's broke down society. This problem is so big. We as a people elected Donald Trump as a president who said, I can walk down the middle of the street and kill anybody I want and you'll still elect me. And we did it. God damn, what's wrong with us today? And I don't mean to get off track, but we have a problem in the USA, and the problem is victimizing those who are abused. Because none of us know what love is anymore. We have turned our back to God. That's the problem. We said we don't need you anymore, God. And why did we say that? Is it people who claim we trust in God? How could we do that? And I don't know. What's broken? My faith. Right? What's happened in the world? Why was it so important for God to be in our schools? Because God is love. And if we take away God, we take our ability to believe love is good. I only believe what I know. Look at how our children have changed. In the 70s, I could still go to the park. Today, you cannot go to the park. Look at how we dress our children. We dress them like whores, not daughters. We're preparing them to be sex slaves, not mothers. You have sex education, I'll teach you how to have sex, but I won't teach you what to do with the life it brings, which is far more important. I'll teach you how to get a job, but I won't teach you how to raise a child. I'll teach you all these things, but I won't teach you how to deal with frustration when your child says, I'm more important than you. And yet, we do it to God all the time. As Jesus says, who's the greatest? This baby. We say it to God, we're more important. I'm more important. Yet if anyone challenges my importance, I get upset. I get frustrated. And man, could you imagine, that's day one of your life. So the transformation of Jesus it's a journey that takes some people 40 years. See, Moses said, here, this is what happens when you molest a child, and starts making all these rules. And they had to spend 40 years in the wilderness and never accomplished what they were promised. I promise you a land of milk and honey, minus enemies. And Moses said, this is the only way. Believe God. We don't have to make one sacrifice. We don't have to hang one person. We don't have to put one person in jail. We don't have to kill one animal. We don't have to do any of these sacrifices and things and atonements for sin. Believe God. That's it. And we see it in the eyes of a baby. Am I safe in your hands? He who proves it is God. That's why every baby looks at its mom or dad as though it was God. And that's their relationship with God. Whatever's in the parent. Whatever we see. And sin exists. Not believing God. God will provide for us. See, it says right there in the dollar bill, in God we trust. And if there are people trying to make you believe, no, we trust in walls. We trust in army. We trust in this. We trust in here. How many of us, when we get sick, first thing I do is I take a little medicine, get a headache or whatever, a little Advil. First thing I do is, when that doesn't work, I tell my friend, hey, I'm not feeling very well. Got any advice? And the friend says, yeah, you go to the doctor. Then we're on down the road. Tell, why am I sick? Well, I don't feel very safe. I feel a little uncomfortable. But do we go to God first? And why not God first? Well, somewhere in my life, I'm unable to trust God. I'm unable to. Because when I cried, nobody made me feel safe. And we look in our world and say, wow, I believe you when you say you don't believe in God. I believe it. And the evidence is we have the world's largest population of molested children sitting in prison. That's the answer. We'll lock you away and never look at you again. That's how we deal with it. Instead of addressing the real problem. If we don't teach our children how to be parents, it's never going to end. The cycle is still broken. And it's for that reason Jesus came. You need a Savior. You need help. Who is my Savior? When I'm in your hands and I feel safe. I am safe. And Jesus says, this is my promise. This is the new world, the new kingdom. You are safe. You are in my hands. And you are safe. What's stopping you from believing it? And if we ask God in the right motive, please strengthen my belief, He will. He'll give you a reason. Because that's what God, we receive love. We don't have to learn it, we receive it. Am I crying out? And am I being heard? In fact, you are, right? In fact, you are. That's what we need to know. You see it, caretakers. You know, mothers, you take your kid to daycare. When do you take your kid to daycare? From 0 to 5, right? And then from 5, they go on to public school. Somebody else is raising your children. Are they raising them the way God would like them to be raised? How many parents come to pick up the kids at the daycare? And kid takes off running. I don't want to go home with you. Why? Because I found my mama. I found the truth. Wherever I am and I feel safe, I'm happy. I'm happy. No matter where. How about if a mama drops their kids off at the daycare and kids mad Mom, you're not leaving me. Wherever I am, I'm safe and I'm happy. These are warning signs to all of us. Children don't have to speak a language. They'll tell you, I'm not safe. I'm not happy. And our response is why? Why? As Jesus says, doesn't a good shepherd, a good dad, tend to your needs? If I had 99 kids, daycare, full of kids, all right? And everybody's happy, laughing and giggling. One falls down and breaks his crown. We all know you're upset, hurt, mad, not safe. We all know. And so does God. And doesn't He go for those who are lost, stuck in the mud? Whomever they are. If we are wicked, if we are evil, if we are ungodly, yet we know how to tend to the needs of our children. What about God, who is knowing, who is perfect, who has all the answers to every question, to every prayer, to everything? See, all things work together for the good to those who believe. Believe what? My dad loves me. My mom loves me. That's what Jesus says. My greatest desire was to gather you like a mother hen. And He gathers the little chicks under her brood, right under her belly, and sets on them. And all you can see is me. I'm sitting on my little chicks. He says, but damn, you guys are like a bunch of vipers. You have poison on your lips. If you would only believe. That's why God doesn't destroy the world with a big giant ball of fire, or hasn't yet. I think God wants to save you. I think He wants to save you. And He doesn't want to destroy you. He's only waiting for you to believe. You are safe right now in my hand, says the Lord. And that could start today. Right? Do you have any questions, any thoughts? Did I cover it?
I think you covered it all.
Was it well? Does it make sense?
Didn't it make sense? Yeah.
That's most important. Right? If I give a message and you say, wow, I feel confused, then I have to do it again. Because that's not my goal. I don't want you to feel confused. I want you to understand, and all of us, that my actions matter. Even when a baby cries out, the first thing it finds out, I cried and I was fed. I matter. I matter. I had a spoiled diaper and it was changed. I matter. I matter. And we all matter. Don't believe the liar. The sin. The sin. Don't believe it. Okay. If you like what you've seen, like what you've heard, push the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to transform your television, you have the opportunity to do that now by adopting a new television, a new thing that you're willing to watch, absorb, and allow into your home. If you're tired of the teaching your children TV, influencing your children to dress and become a certain way, you now have the opportunity to turn to a new programming which is being produced and made
I
by
have
faithful
unanswered
Christians
prayers.
who care about your well-being.
I have trouble I wish.
See you next time.
And I've asked 1,000 ways that you would take my pain away. You would take my pain away. I am trying to understand how to walk this weary land. Make straight the paths that crooked lie. Oh Lord, before these feet of mine. Oh Lord, before these feet of mine. When my world is shaking, heaven stands. When my heart is breaking, I never leave your hands. When you walked upon the earth, you healed the broken, lost, and hurt. I know you hate to see me cry. One day you will set all things right. Yeah, one day you will set all things right. When my world is shaking, heaven stands. When my heart is breaking, I never leave your hands. Your hands, your hands that shape the world are holding me, they hold me still. Your hands that shape the world are holding me, they hold me still. When my world is shaking,